As Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez prepare for a historic super fight in September 2025, the boxing world is a hive of activity. With a heated exchange that almost descended into violence, the build-up to this fight has already been dramatic, laying the groundwork for what looks to be an exciting confrontation. This bout is among the most fascinating in recent memory because both combatants, each of whom is a legend in his own right, bring special talents and illustrious careers to the ring. Boxing tycoon Turki Alalshikh arranged a meeting in Saudi Arabia that sparked the conflict between Canelo and Crawford. The encounter swiftly turned chaotic, even though it was originally meant to finalize the details of their epic showdown. On their way to Alalshikh's house in Saudi Arabia, the two met at the airport. When Crawford went up to Canelo to make small talk, he received what he took to be a snub, ruining what should have been a respectful moment. Anger boiled as Crawford, who never backs down, pushed forward. After exchanging words and almost starting a fight, team members and airport officials intervened to break up the altercation. After a rough beginning, they finally arrived at Alalshikh's house, where the Saudi power broker seems to have resolved the conflict. A later image of the three men together that was shared on Alalshikh's social media suggested a settlement, at least temporarily. Even though the fight is still 6 months away, it has already captivated the interest of both fans and experts. Two of the biggest names in the sport are Canelo, the Mexican superstar, and Crawford, the Omaha, Nebraska-born undefeated welterweight king. With each man approaching the end of his ring career, their careers, both deserving of the Hall of Fame, are at a turning point. Canelo, 34, has a February 2, 62 record after almost 20 years of professional combat, which includes notable fights against Floyd Mayweather and Gennady Golovkin. With a perfect 41-0 record, Crawford, now 37, recently defeated Errol Spence in a dominant performance to establish his absolute welterweight supremacy. In a time when there aren't many uncontested champions, a duel between them seems like the logical conclusion of their adventures. The matchup is full of contrasts, and the stakes are enormous. Standing 5 feet 8 inches and weighing 168 pounds, Canelo, the super middleweight king, has an advantage in both size and power. In order to meet him, Crawford, who last competed at super welterweight, 154 pounds, will have to go up 2 weight classes, which is a difficult task even for a fighter of his level. Crawford, however, responds with unrivaled boxing intelligence, speed, and reach. In an interview, Crawford admitted, "Canelo is bigger and stronger than me, even though I'm faster. At the same time, we both give something away and gain something." Canelo sees the fight as an opportunity to further solidify his reputation, while Crawford sees it as a chance to define his legacy and maybe earn the largest salary of his career. The path to this point has been a convoluted one. At first hesitant to face Crawford, Canelo had been concentrating on other challenges, like as a fight with William Skull on the Cinco de Mayo weekend in May 2025. His goal in that fight, which is a part of his May and September fighting schedule, is to regain the IBF super middleweight title that was taken away from him in order to prepare for an undisputed championship matchup with Crawford. In order to get Canelo to sign, Turki Alalshikh, the man behind boxing's recent high-profile events, allegedly sweetened the contract with a huge purse, estimated to be around $150 million. Canelo hinted at his practical approach earlier this year when he remarked, "If the money is right, I'm in." Crawford, who recently defeated Israel Madrimov at 154 pounds, has stated that he has been pursuing this bout ever since defeating Spence. He declared, "It's a legacy fight. Today's biggest boxing fight." Even though they have previously shown respect for one another, the airport incident exposed a long-simmering antagonism. Canelo has continuously lauded Crawford's abilities, referring to him as a great fighter, while downplaying the importance of the match. He told a boxing website, "I won't get any credit if I face Crawford. It's an easy fight, easy money for me in my weight class, but you never know in boxing." However, the idea that he is out of his depth makes Crawford furious. He retorted, "I've spent my entire life fighting bigger guys. I'm up for the challenge, even though I know Canelo is bigger than me." His unbeaten record and track record of using technical skill to overcome physical obstacles support his confidence. Opinions on how this battle will play out are divided. Although he gives Crawford credit for his abilities, trainer Robert Garcia, who has worked with elite fighters, thinks Canelo's size and strength will ultimately win out. There would be fierce competition in the first 6 to 8 rounds, Garcia stated. Crawford can gain Canelo's respect with his speed and strength, but in the end, I believe Canelo is too big and strong. Former multi-division champion Mikey Garcia is less excited about the contest, claiming that the weight difference, Crawford going from 135 pounds at the beginning of his career to 168, tips the scales too far in Canelo's favor. I believe Crawford is a more skilled fighter in terms of skill, he stated, but the size difference will be the deciding factor.
Recently, the Wyatt Six have generated some nice buzz that has many discussing what might be in store for them. As we approach WrestleMania 41, there is also a lot of discussion on what Bianca Belair, JUSO, and others are disclosing. Let's get started, with JUSO and Gunther competing in what is expected to be the Raw brand's big event on the first night. Although this fight has been advertised as the night's main event, fans have been arguing in recent weeks whether it really warrants that coveted position. When Triple H added fuel to the fire during a news conference, the discussion really took off. According to him, the big event on the first night isn't fixed and will be determined by which plot line gains the most traction and heat as WrestleMania 41 draws near. Many fans have noted that, even though there isn't a title at stake, the Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins triumvirate appears to be creating more buzz than the JUSO and Gunther program as the build-up progresses. It appears that the men's triple threat match has the best chance of taking center stage on the first night. JUSO recently discussed his concerns on the prospect of losing that main event spot in an interview with the Daily Mail. The thought didn't appear to frighten him. What he said was as follows: WrestleMania, whether I'm on the first or second match. I don't care if I open it up or if I'm on last. All I'm thinking about is that when I go out there, they'll remember my match. This opportunity comes only once in a lifetime. I'm approaching it that way because I don't think this will ever come up again in my career. According to Jay, he isn't worried about the placement. He's just happy to be there, fighting for a world title at WrestleMania, whether he's the opener, midway in the middle, or the closer. Regardless of where it appears on the card, he is determined to take advantage of this unique opportunity. Now, there is no question about WrestleMania 41's second night. Everyone is aware that JUSO vs. Gunther won't be the main event that evening. There is absolutely no question that Cody Rhodes vs. John Cena will win on night 2. Therefore, that is completely off the table. There is still time for things to change, so the true question mark is night 1. Let's examine how the prospective night 1 headliners now compare in light of Triple H's remarks that momentum will determine the main event. The matchup between Roman Reigns and CM Punk and Seth Rollins is at the top of the list. This match is rich in history and intricate narrative, even if there isn't a championship on the line. It feels like the richest, most interesting choice for night 1 because of the long-standing rivalry as well as the extra twist of Paul Heyman's connections to both Punk and Roman. It might easily steal the show because of its big match vibe. Second place is between JUSO and Gunther. Although Jay's victory in the Royal Rumble lends the world title fight significant legitimacy, the narrative hasn't been as compelling or in-depth as the triple threat. It certainly has the status, but in terms of fan investment, it's not nearly performing at its best. You could then place either Tiffany vs. Charlotte or the triple threat of Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair in third place for the women's world title. Although both are good, they aren't currently creating as much talk as the top two. Naturally, these rankings could change in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania. By the time we arrive, the major event on the first night may have changed significantly if one plotline gains popularity and begins to trend more than the others. Let's change the subject a little and discuss Bianca Belair, who has been in the news recently. She retaliated on social media earlier this week against supporters who continue to believe she was involved in the attack on Jade Cargill. She criticized their claims, calling their purported evidence phony and contrived. However, it wasn't the only online argument she had recently. She also picked up where she and Rhea Ripley left off on Raw, exchanging jabs. Bianca let it all out, noting the issue with Jade Cargill and Naomi in particular, and accused Rhea of being childish for putting it in her face. The term childish, which Charlotte Flair recently used to describe Rhea, sticks out. Therefore, it seems as though Bianca is inadvertently adopting the viewpoint of a major heel when she repeats that. is perhaps a subliminal indication that she may be changing her attitude to a heel turn? Although it could be a stretch, it's an intriguing small element that merits attention.